Well, it came with some surprise the other day when word came out that Wonderman Season 2, a season that was never supposed to exist, the show was supposed to be a standalone one-shot until it got all this awards consideration. All of a sudden then they're saying, we are coming back with Season 2, only the other day for it to be announced, to use an outdated term, psych, nope, no Season 2 for you, and it's not coming out. And left a lot of us wondering, gosh, why would Kevin Feige decide not to do a Wonder Man Season 2? Well, according to Destin Daniel Cretton, the director of Spider-Man Brand New Day, and of course, the director and showrunner of Wonder Man, it wasn't Kevin Feige's decision. This comes to us from the folks over at Yahoo Entertainment. Write the following. Disney Plus's Wonder Man series co-creator Destin Daniel Cretton says that he was just as confused and heartbroken as the rest of us over the show's cancellation, but that it wasn't Marvel boss Kevin Feige's decision. I love that show to death. If it were up to me, we would be making that show, Cretton told The Wrap. And I do believe that if, and I know this sounds weird, but if it were up to Kevin, we would be doing that show. Continued Cretton, I'm just talking. I don't fully understand the business of streaming, but if the business was right, we would be making that show because I know Kevin loves that show as much as I do. It's a bummer. I'm heartbroken about it, but I need to fully understand why. All right. With that one statement, Destin Daniel Cretton has turned the unfortunate piece of entertainment news of Wonder Man Season 2 being canceled into a full-blown mystery and conspiracy theory. Because if you're like me, you will say to that comment and those quotes, wait a second, I thought one of the big points about the ending of the Bob Paycheck era of being the CEO of Disney was that Kevin Feige got his authority back. He got his power back. He got his decision-making authority back to decide which projects get made with Marvel and which ones don't, of course, famously taken away from him under the Bob Paycheck era. So what's going on here? Like, why is this? If Kevin Feige's not making the decision, who's making the decision? Well, it would give us an opportunity here to go over and take a look at the power tree that exists over at Marvel. Because Kevin Feige isn't just his own boss. He does have to answer to a couple of people. And who does Kevin Feige report to? Well, Kevin Feige's immediate boss is Alan Bergman, the chairman of Disney Entertainment Studios. Of course, a role that used to be occupied famously by probably the single greatest movie executive ever in history, Alan Shore, who then, of course, retired for a second time. So he's not there anymore. But now Alan Bergman is the chairman of Disney Entertainment Studios. Alan himself reports now to Dana Walden, who is the president and chief creative officer of Disney Entertainment. And Dana Walden reports, of course, not to Big Papa Iger, because he's retired again, but rather Disney's new CEO, Josh D'Amaro. So there are three bosses here for Kevin Feige, which means one of these three jackasses has to be the one that canceled Wonder Man Season 2. And by the way, maybe canceling Wonder Man Season 2 was the right move. I don't know. I don't know the inside thing. I'm not saying they're all jackasses, but there is only three answers because Kevin Feige within Marvel has all the authority within Marvel. And there are only three people in human existence that has authority to tell him yes or no to something he wants to do in Marvel. That's Alan Bergman, that's Dana Walden, and that's the new CEO, Josh D'Amaro. Because one of the things that I don't like the notion of or the idea of is going into a new era in Disney where Kevin Feige doesn't have the freedom to do what Kevin Feige wants to do. Now, listen, Kevin Feige always took his marching orders from Alan Shore and Bob Iger. Absolutely. He always had to check in with them. He always had to get approvals from them. But for the most part, they just gave him guidance, set a few guardrails, but for the most part, kind of stayed out of his way. For the most part. So who would have the audacity, the unmitigated gall to step in and tell Kevin Feige, oh, that television show you want to do, Wonder Man? Yeah, you can't do it. I think the most likely person in this chain here is Dana Walden. I think that's the most likely person, being the chief creative officer of Disney Entertainment, because I don't know that Alan Bergman would step in and tell Kevin Feige not to do something without the blessing of Dana Walden. Now, even if we put on our Sherlock Holmes caps and figured out which one of these three told Kevin Feige he had to cancel Wonderman, it doesn't answer the question why. Why would one of the more uppity ups, one of only three people who actually has decision-making authority over Kevin Feige, come down from Mount Olympus and tell him, no, you can't do that? And I think there are two potential reasons that are legitimate. Potential reason number one, they may have told him not to do Wonder Man Season 2 because we want to keep Destin Daniel Cretton's dance card as open as possible, because we don't know how long we want to wait to make a Spider-Man 5. That would be underhanded, yet understandable. Because don't forget, Destin is still working on Shang-Chi, and he's got that Ninny Nanny Bim Bombs, whatever that, Nutero, Neutered Boy, whatever it's called. What's the actual name of it, Sean? Naratu, right. So he's got
probably
that.
mispronouncing it, but yes.
No, yeah, well, not as badly as me. Not as badly as I'm mispronouncing it.
Naratu.
So he's got that. He's in what he calls active development of Shang-Chi 2. And does Disney want him to now also have a Wonder Man Season 2? Now you've got three things standing between Destin and a Spider-Man 5, which is just, again, set the all-time opening weekend box office record. So that is one potential reason why one of those three may have told him to cancel it. The bigger potential reason could be that Josh D'Amaro, Dana Walden, or Alan Bergman have decided, you know what? It's time for Marvel to focus just on the movies again. Marvel has never been, I don't think many of us would argue that Marvel has never been better or firing on all cylinders more or at peak performance more than when they were just putting movies in theaters. And it could very well be that under new CEO Josh D'Amaro or new CCO Dana Walden, they made the decision, you know what? Let's not have Kevin and his team dividing their attention between making series for Disney Plus. So there have been some whispers going around the last couple of weeks that Disney may be making moves to just tell not only Marvel, but Star Wars to not worry about making original shows for Disney Plus anymore and focus more on making their movies, which will in turn serve Disney Plus better when those movies then go onto streaming. So who, I say, told Kevin Feige he couldn't make Wonder Man Season 2 is not as big of a question as why would they do it? And if it is, guys, either one of those two options, I may or may not agree, but it's understandable. Wanting to keep Destin more available to make another Spider-Man? Understandable. Wanting to move away from Marvel making Disney Plus series at all? Understandable. Anyway, Rob, you heard the comments from Destin saying if it was up to Kevin, we'd still be doing a Wonder Man Season 2, which immediately made me sit up and go, whoa, wait. So my question for you, two-parter here. Who do you think told him he couldn't do it? And number two, probably the more important question, why do you think they would tell Kevin Feige not to do a Wonder Man Season 2?
Well, I honestly think it comes straight from the top. I think Disney has a new chairman, that's taken over from Bob Iger. And our new chairman, I think, has a mandate across all platforms. If something is not pulling its weight, no matter how good it is, no matter how critically acclaimed it is, if it's not making money, if it's not bringing in subscribers, we're not going to continue with it. And it has nothing to do with anything other than that. And I think, on the other hand, though, dance card available, I think is probably a good idea, but it's going to take a long time to have a new script written for a new Spider-Man film. And I think that Wonder Man, the problem with Wonder Man is it's a wonderful show that not a lot of people watched. And I think it was originally conceived as a one-off when it was
Well,
so
it
well
didn't
received.
help that they dropped the whole thing at once. So they
Of
never even
course,
gave it the opportunity to build up an audience over
but I
weeks.
think, yeah, I think they're not going to do that. It's
Yeah.
like it's got to be, they've taken a lot of hits, Mandalorian and Grogu, not great, and they're looking at Marvel. They're like, if this stuff is not performing in a way that it justifies its existence, as good as it might be, we're not going to revisit it. We're not in the business anymore of trying to build our audience, especially with Marvel and Star Wars. It either works out of the gate or it doesn't. And I think that's ultimately what they're looking at, because look, you know what? As you pointed out, Wonder Man was a one and done, originally a one and done limited series. I thought it was tremendous. I loved it. I thought it was great. Everybody gave it their A game. But I get it. I understand it's not for everyone. It was also a kind of a one-off in the MCU. But what I do think it has, now that it's brought some awards buzz, and it's respectable. It's something that they can always point to and go, we want shows of this quality that have more mass appeal. I don't think, there's a lot of people talking about how two different things were canceled. I mean, it has nothing to do with race, because they're coming out hard with Black Panther 3, which is, they'd rather go, look, Black Panther 1 and 2. That's a $2 billion franchise. They're like, bring on Black Panther 3. Let's go make that. And they've got one of the greatest, exciting new young actors, playing the new T'Challa's son, David Johnson. I don't know if it's Johnson or Johansson. I'll say David
I think it's
Johnson.
Johnson.
I mean, that guy in The Long Walk was so good.
Yeah, he was great. He
was great in Alien Romulus, the way he could literally change himself into a different, artificial person. He's an incredible actor, and he's going to bring something really special to T'Challa. And I just think it's money. I think it has to come down to the fact, and I think even Kevin Feige, he's like, he probably had that mandate. He's like, look, I understand you can have all you want, Kev. You've got total autonomy, but what trumps your power is money. And at the end of the day, we'll give you. I don't think that means he's not going to try new and interesting things in the future. I think they're pulling back their biggest franchises from streaming, and they're going all into theatrical. And that's what it is. It's simple as that. That's what I think.
What about you, Sean? The same two questions for you. Who do you think ultimately was behind telling Kevin Feige not to do Wonder Man season 2? And like, could it be one of the reasons Rob and I have suggested you buy into one of those? Could it be another one that we haven't brought up yet? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I piggyback on what Rob just said about, probably goes all the way up to the top of, they're trying to get back to a time period where everything Marvel released was this water cooler conversation. That phase 3, every movie was an event. Even if Captain Marvel, that people weren't crazy about with its legacy, made $1 billion. Like, everybody saw it. And so there's this time where everything they did hit, and it was big. And then something like Wonder Man was intentionally very niche, and the people that watched it loved it, but it had very small appeal to a broad audience.
Yeah.
And you just contrast that with, all right, we gave this guy Wonder Man and we got awards, and we gave him Spider-Man and we made $1 billion in 4 days. Like, they're just, ultimately they're a business, and you go, we were historically the water cooler franchise that everybody saw everything and talked about it, wanted to be a part of it. That's what we want to do. That's what we want to be. And so we got to make some hard choices. And I think that comes from the top. I think some of it also is kind of what you talked about with Destin being one of their top guys. And clearly Kevin Feige has thought that for a while, because he was supposed to do Kang Dynasty.
Yeah.
And then when his concession prize, like, we're not going to get you an Avengers movie. We're only going to give you the follow-up to Spider-Man No Way Home. Like, this is someone they obviously tremendously trust. And then he delivered. He did it. And it's confirmed. Right. He's one of your top guys. And do you want to have him work on something just to get awards? Or do you want him to be one of the guys that is free to help get this thing back to the excitement, the momentum of phase 3? that makes a lot of sense to me. And I don't know if this has anything to do with it, but I don't know if you saw this news story that Disney Plus partnered up with TikTok.
Yeah.
And so soon TikTok content's going to be on Disney Plus in the near future. They're going to give assets to creators if they opt in. And you can just see, like, I don't know if there's any connection at all, but that is Disney Plus moving in a specific direction and also canceling some other things in a different direction. And one of these doesn't cost money. And one of these things costs millions and millions of dollars to create every episode. So is there a connection there? I don't know, but they're both related to what will be the content on Disney Plus in the future.
All right, guys, the question is for you. What do you think about this? Destin Daniel Cretton, the showrunner of Wonderman, has come out and said it wasn't actually Kevin Feige's decision to cancel Wonderman Season 2, asking us, well, then who did and why would they do it? We've given you some theories. Do you have any of your own? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Guys, we want to take a second and thank a sponsor of today's video, Mars Men. Guys, you know that one of the frustrating things about getting older is realizing that the things that used to come naturally suddenly require a lot more effort. You wake up tired, workouts feel harder, recovery takes longer, and by the middle of the afternoon, your energy and focus can completely disappear. And that's where Mars Men comes in. Mars Men is designed to support healthy testosterone levels, natural energy, and stamina using 8 clinically dosed ingredients. There are absolutely no synthetics or needles, and it's made in the USA and third-party tested. Some men report steadier energy, stronger workouts, and better recovery, and it comes with a 90-day money-back guarantee. For a limited time, our listeners get 50% off for life, plus free shipping and 3 free gifts at mengotomars.com. That's mengotomars.com for 50% off and 3 free gifts when you check out. After you purchase, they'll ask you where you heard about them. Please support the John Campea Show and tell them we sent you.